Hello, and welcome to this glimpse into Thalyon, the sacred, the profane, and the thresholds between. Today, we stand at the shoreline, where the land releases its certainty, and the sea carries stories no tongue can tell. On this threshold, two ancient beings meet, the crab, armored, agile, reactive, and the turtle, also armored, but slow, deliberate, and eternal. They do not fight, they don't embrace, yet they belong together in this moment. This is Allied by Circumstance, a visual poem that speaks to the zodiac sign of Cancer, and also as a deep emotional archetype, one that knows both the urgency of protection and the timelessness of gestation. The crab and the turtle, though different in form and temperament, find themselves side by side, anchored by context rather than affection. Their proximity is not intimate, nor is it adversarial. Instead, it reflects a subtle but undeniable bond forged by shared space and environmental necessity. Much like the Cancerian archetype they evoke, their interaction is shaped not by will, but by resonance, timing, and emotional gravity. The crab, armored and agile, is a creature of quick motion and sudden defense. It represents lunar instinct, ancestral memory, and the patterns of cyclical return. Its movement isn't linear, but sidelong and alert, ready to retreat, defend, or vanish into the safety of sand and shadow. The turtle, also armored, carries its endurance with quiet majesty. There is no urgency to its presence. It knows the weight of time and the patience of waiting. It is a living emblem of Saturnian wisdom, tied to earth and water alike, bearing the slow wisdom of gestation, maternal knowing, and evolutionary rhythm. Together, they articulate a spectrum within the Cancer archetype, the immediacy of emotional boundaries, and the long arc of emotional memory. The crab responds to what is near, what is now. The turtle holds what is ancient and unfolding. In tandem, they speak to the range of emotional intelligence, from the primal need for protection to the soul's long-term becoming. The scene unfolds at the shoreline, where the tide has just pulled back. The waterline itself becomes a living metaphor, a boundary between realms. It is the point at which consciousness slips between the astral and the embodied, where the dreamer stirs and the remembered becomes felt. This threshold is not only physical, but spiritual. It is the place where transformation begins. Around these beings are quiet relics of time. The scattered sand, stones, and shells each hold symbolic weight. The shells speak of identities once worn, roles shed like skin. The stones, rounded and unmoving, represent crystallized karma or anchored values, hard-earned, unmoved, enduring. Together, they suggest that all things, once alive, leave behind some echo of presence. And in the mix is seaweed, fluid, entwined, and seemingly soft. But it is the most ancient plant of the deep. It is the quiet language of the sea, the thread between currents. It winds through the crab's claws and brushes the turtle's shell. It speaks not in declarations, but in entanglements. The color story deepens the tale. The crab's ochre, rust, and burnt umber tones reflect a fire rooted in earth, evocative of Mars and Cancer, a tension between assertion and self-protection. Meanwhile, the turtle's deep red carapace, veined with dark marbling, recalls both bloodlines and ancestral knowledge. The pattern of its shell, with its sacred geometry and hexagonal cells, speaks of structure, lineage, and the microcosmic worlds held in living form. Above them, the ocean's foaming edge shifts from white to deep cerulean, a quiet nod to the unseen moon, the ruling celestial body of Cancer, guiding emotion with tides and whispers. From an esoteric perspective, the piece carries a potent nod to ancient systems where modern astrology associates Cancer with the crab. Older traditions, especially those rooted in Egypt, associate the sign with the turtle, and for good reason. In many traditions, from Kemet to the Americas to Vedic cosmology, the turtle is the world bearer. It carries the weight of the heavens and the earth on its back. It is creation slowed to breath. It reminds us that Cancer is not just the sensitive soul of the zodiac, but its cradle, the vessel of incarnation itself. In this light, allied by circumstance becomes more than a commentary on personality. It becomes a meditation on incarnation. Cancer as a sign does not simply feel, it gestates. It does not merely react, it remembers. The title, Allied by Circumstance, offers a powerful suggestion. Not all unions are chosen. Some are drawn together by karmic design, by shared environment, by psychic choreography. These bonds can show up in your chart, in placements that feel contradictory, yet are meant to harmonize. They can manifest within the dynamic between immediate instinct and long-range patience. They can appear in family ties, soul companions, or lessons we didn't ask for, but still inherited. And so the image asks, what are you holding on to, and why? Are you defending yourself from harm, or are you preserving something sacred? What part of you reacts because it had to survive, and what part endures because it chose to evolve? This painting evolved from a personal meditation. The work also offers a reflection on the collective. In today's world, where nervous systems are frayed and emotional depth is often rushed or suppressed, the crab and turtle represent the right to move slowly, to protect, to reflect. They are not in resistance to progress. They are its soul check. They remind us that before emotion is expressed, it must be held. Before wounds are tended to, they need to be understood. Within Jungian language, these beings are not merely animals. They are the keepers of the lunar unconscious. They dwell in the waters beneath the surface of things, holding space for the imaginal, the mother line, the dreamer's return. The idea that they are allied by environment speaks to the condition of all beings who find themselves thrust into proximity. Not because they chose it, but because some unseen current placed them beside one another. In this sense, the piece also reflects how we encounter soul contracts, not always through resonance, but sometimes through necessity. What unfolds, then, is a new model of coexistence, one in which understanding doesn't require total agreement and presence doesn't depend on intimacy. The painting becomes a gentle philosophy. Can you share sacred space without dissolving into it? Can you be alongside difference without fear? And finally, through the mytho-poetic lens, the image belongs to a deeper lineage. We can look at the crab as more than just a crustacean, but more so a sentinel of the tides. It knows how to hide, molt, and emerge again. It doesn't forget. It is sensitive to vibration, to phase, to pull. Its wisdom is in the timing. The turtle is not simply old, but eternal. It dreams new worlds and births them slowly. It carries the stories that time forgot. Its wisdom is in duration. Together, on the edge of land and sea, they represent a sacred convergence, a moment of pause, an invitation to descend, to cross inward into the emotional, the psychic, the vulnerable, without abandoning what has kept you alive. Each painting in the Thalyon series is an invocation as well as an invitation to reflect. Some pieces explore the Zodiac, while some examine our social structures, and others ritual. This entry on Cancer speaks profoundly on how dual forces live within every sign, and how placements of the planets influence how the signs express themselves. It is an invitation to explore how this takes place for you, the viewer, to do your own research into your own chart in an attempt to understand yourself better. Allied by Circumstance reminds us that form and emotion are inseparable. The land and sea are not enemies, they are in conversation, and the beings who live at that edge, like the crab and the turtle, are the keepers of that sacred, complicated in-between. Even though circumstances bring you together, the relationships are defined via your course of actions. For closing, let's contemplate on what we're carrying right now. Armor, memory, a shell of silence, or a womb of potential? Are you the crab defending what was? Or perhaps, like most of us, you're both, allied not by logic, but by the circumstance of your soul's unfolding. This image asks us to consider, what if our opposites are not meant to be conquered, but accompanied, reconciled? I'm Wayne from Rodney Illustrations, creator of the Global Fusion Intuitive Tarot Deck, published by US Games Systems, and the creator of the Thalyon project, which this video is a part of. Thank you for your time. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share. Peace and blessings.
To understand the world, you must first know yourself. But how do we discern what is real? Embark on this journey to discover more about your real potential. Uncover the mystery in the tarot.